Hello everyone, welcome to Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services. It's a video on daily news and editorial analysis, which I'll be covering from the Hindu and Indian Express. So the most important news and editorial of the day that is relevant for the preparation of civil services examination will be discussed in this session. Let's get started with the news topic list. Today is 12th of January. First important news, Cabinet clears schemes for the promotion of digital payment. Second, Union Cabinet unveil 3 new cooperative society. Third, Supreme Court bar apartmentization of residentials in Chandigarh. This is from the explained page of the Indian Express. Fourth, Vice President call says basically court cannot dilute the parliament sovereignty. And the last is an editorial that is reducing preterm births and stillbirths. Apart from the news and editorial discussion, at the end of this video, there will be MCQ based questions. These questions will be based on current affairs that will help you for the upcoming prelims examination. So without any further delay, let's get started. And before I begin this session, those of you who are new to our channel, do not forget to subscribe Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services on YouTube. If you like this video, if you find this video informative and helpful, do not forget to press the like button. So starting the session with the first news, that is Cabinet clears schemes for the promotion of digital payment, something important for General Studies paper 2, that is Indian economy and issues related to planning, mobilization, resource growth and development. So recently the Union Cabinet has approved the incentive scheme for the promotions of RuPay debit card as well as low value UPI transaction for a period of 1 year from April 2022. Right, the government ने incentive की बात की है and the approved incentive scheme will call for the promotion of RuPay debit card and Bhim UPI transaction for the financial year, and total outlay for this has been about of 26,000 crore rupees. The fund will be paid to banks in a view of the lack of merchant discount rate, जिसे MDR rate भी कहते हैं. Basically the commission होती है जो digital transaction पे banks को दी जाती है and the for UPI and other payment transaction. So this will be acting as an incentive to the bankers. Now, even UPSC has asked a direct question in the merchant discount rate as well. Do check it out for the prelims questions. Now for the financial year, the government has approved the incentive scheme to give further boost to the digital transaction. Now, in terms of UPI transaction in India, India has become a country which has the highest number of UPI transaction compared to many other countries. And even बात करें अगर RuPay debit card की, it's although some of the limited banks in India give the RuPay debit card, या फिर बात करें कुछ ऐसे banks हैं, Punjab National Bank and even Punjab and Sindh Bank, there are many limited banks that are provided with a RuPay debit card. But UPI transaction एक ऐसी transaction है which has taken a toll in India. Now provisions of financial incentives की बात की गई under the scheme. Acquiring bank will be provided with financial incentives for promoting point of sale, जिसे POS भी कहते हैं. If you have visited any store और अगर आप कार्ड से स्वाइप कर रहे हैं, that is called as a point of sale, right? And an e-commerce transaction using debit card and the low value UPI transaction for the current financial. This is what the government has come up with. And even during the union budget speech, the finance minister has said that the intention of the government is to support the financial system जहाँ पे digital payment को promote की जाए with a focus of promotion on the use of payment platform which are more economical and user friendly. So UPI is the simplest way with which you can proceed the payment. Now the scheme has been formulated in compliance with the budget announcement. Now total digital payment transactions की अगर बात करें, the total digital payment transaction has registered a year-on-year growth of 59%. This data is relevant for the examination purpose, specifically for the prelims and mains. तो आप इस तरह के data को use कर पाएंगे. And from rising to like it was earlier, it has taken from 50,554, that is 5,554 से बढ़कर ये 8,844 हो चुकी है. The Bhim UPI transaction has registered on year-on-year growth of 106%. तो यहाँ पे जो growth है, for digital payment it was 59%, for UPI it is 106%, which is again a good number. And this has seen the rise of from 2233 to 4597 crore rupees. It's a definitely the involvement of people in terms of using the UPI transaction has increased a lot. Looking into the graph, digital payment in India की बात करें, India is among the country that has the highest number of the transaction. This is in the million of transactions, 27,379. China की अगर बात करें, only 16,000, close to half of India. And even in United States is 13,095, right? It's only 1,395, right? And digital transactions by volume की बात करें, you can see the graph here. Earlier it was 2072, now it is 8193. Incentivization of UPI and Rupee card. The National Payment Corporation of India, this is an umbrella body which take care of entire UPI और digital payment जितनी भी करते हैं उसकी settlement जो है वो NPCI करती है. NPCI is a very important organization. इसके बारे में आप डिटेल में पढ़ लें, very much relevant for the prelims examination. तो इनका कहना है जो incentivizations हैं for the BHIM UPI and RuPay debit card will be created, and it aims to create a cost-effective value propositions for ecosystem stakeholders, increase merchant acceptance footprints, and faster migrations from cash payment to digital payment. And in this context, I would like to add जो RBI ने recently अभी digital payment की बात की है उसके भी आप बेसिकली कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस देखेंगे. इवन इट इज ऑल्सो एडिंग ऑन द पार्ट, राइट. तो आरबीआई की जो डिजिटल पेमेंट है उसे भी इससे के साथ जोड़ के देखने की जरूरत है. इवन यूपीआई, रुपे डेबिट कार्ड एंड अदर सॉर्ट ऑफ डिजिटल पेमेंट विल बी द फ्यूचर फॉर इंडिया ट्रांजेक्शन सिस्टम. Now, moving to the other news, Union Cabinet unveiled 3 new corporation society, something important for General Studies Paper 2, under the subtopic that is the government policies and intervention for the development of various sectors and issues arising from its design and implementations. The Union Cabinet has recently approved to set up the national level multi-state seed cooperative society to help. Basically, first is to increase the seed replacement rate, जिसे SRR भी कहते हैं, और varietal replacement rate को बढ़ाने के लिए गवर्नमेंट ने ये डिसीजन लिए. Other is to ensure the role of farmer in quality and seed cultivation and seed variety trials, productions and distributions of certified seed with a single brand named by utilizing network of all level of the cooperatives. So this is how the decision will help the multi-state seed cooperative societies. Now, what is the aim behind the government decision and how the new cooperative society will be benefited? So first, the organization that will be set up, the new organization, this will help for the productions procurement. The first will be for the productions, procurement, processing, branding, labeling, packaging, storage, marketing and distribution of quality seeds. तो ये पूरी एक होलिस्टिक अप्रोच गवर्नमेंट ने बनाई है ताकि न्यू कोऑपरेटिव्स इसको प्रमोट कर पाए एंड रीचिंग आउट टू द एक्चुअल बेनिफिशियरीज. Strategic research and development will be the other important part. Now, to develop a system for the preservations and to promote indigenization of natural seeds. तो natural seed की indigenization की अगर बात करें, the seed productions at national level with the cooperative society will increase the agriculture production in a country. This is something this will be inevitable. अगर इंडियनाइजेशन होती है नेचुरल सीड्स की तो प्रोडक्शंस लेवल ऑटोमेटिकली बढ़ेंगे और इसके जो बेनिफिट्स हैं वो एग्रीकल्चर और कोऑपरेटिव सोसाइटी को में देखने को मिलेगी. रिड्यूसिंग द डिपेंडेंस ऑन इम्पोर्टेड सीड्स, द इम्पोर्ट विल बी ड्रास्टिकली रिड्यूस. उसके इम्पैक्ट होंगे इकोनॉमी, खास करके रूरल इकोनॉमी में, प्रमोटिंग मेक इन इंडिया एंड मेकिंग इंडिया मोर इंडिजिनस, सेल्फ रिलायंट एंड आत्मनिर्भर. Now, national level multi-state seed cooperative society की अगर बात करें, the national multi-level state seed cooperative society will set up with the Multi-State Cooperative Society Act 2002. It will work with support of the relevant ministries. Ministry of Agriculture की बात करें, this is the one stakeholder. The other stakeholder is Indian Council for Agriculture Research, national seed corporations through the scheme and agencies following whole of the government approach. Now, rural economy transformation की अगर बात करें, while launching the national level multi-state seed cooperative society, Prime Minister ने कहा that there are many efforts that should be made to leverage and strengthen the cooperative society. और एक successful attempt है जहाँ पे business entrepreneurs को और enterprises को एक vision मिलेगी from सहकार to Samriddhi या संस्कार से समृद्धि की तरफ, which will having a cooperative hold with the rural economy transformation in the country with agriculture and elite sector, because these were some of the underperformed sector and government was actually focusing, but the impetus was there on the lower side. Now, the primary to national level cooperative society, including the primary society, district level की बात करें, state level and national level, तो ये पूरी hierarchy बनाई गई है जहाँ पे मल्टी स्टेट cooperative society functions करेंगी and the member would be actively functioning in the entire setup. Advantages of the proposed society, क्या क्या advantages होंगे? First, it will call for increase in the seed replacement rate, also known as SRR. Then again, it will call for the varietal replacement rate, ensuring the role of farmer in a quality seed and seed variety trials and productions and distributions of certified seed with a single brand name by utilizing the network of all level of the cooperatives. Now, moving to the other news, this is from the explained page of the Indian Express. Supreme Court bar अपार्टमेंटाइजेशंस ऑफ द रेसिडेंस यूनिट इन चंडीगढ़. जो अपार्टमेंट्स बनाई जा रही हैं चंडीगढ़ में, वो एक कंसर्न है चंडीगढ़ के बेसिकली जो ब्रॉड सेटअप है, जो लेआउट है, आर्किटेक्चरल डेवलपमेंट है उसके. Important for general studies paper 2, that is the structure, organization and functions of executive and judiciary. The Supreme Court has recently prohibited the fragmentations, divisions, bifurcation, apartmentalizations of the residential unit of phase 1 of the Chandigarh and directed the Chandigarh Heritage Conservation Committee to look into the consideration on their own recommendations for the northern sector of the Chandigarh that should be preserved in the present format. तो जो डेवलपमेंट हो रही है वहाँ पे अपार्टमेंट कल्चर इनकॉर्पोरेट की जा रही है जो कि वहाँ के बेसिक आर्किटेक्चर्स को खराब करेगी, राइट. सो दिस इज व्हाट द सुप्रीम कोर्ट हैज टेकन एंड इंटरवीन इन द मैटर एंड हैव आस्क्ड टू स्टे दिस काइंड ऑफ कंस्ट्रक्शन एक्टिविटीज. Chandigarh is a beautiful city. I think you don't need to define this. It's a beautiful place. You can see the cleanest city, the green, lush green city. So two photographs to give you an example how does the city actually look like. And if you have been to Chandigarh, there are a lot of roundabout which is there, right? You will find a lot of roundabout which is there in the city. So which makes city more beautiful. So this is a panoramic view to give an idea how does the city actually look like. Now, Chandigarh Apartment Rule 2001 की अगर बात करें, the Chandigarh Administration Existing Powers Sections 5 and 22, the Capital of Punjab Development Regulation Act जो फ्रेम की गई थी, चंडीगढ़ अपार्टमेंट रूल जो अलाउ करती है डिविजन ऑफ सिंगल रेजिडेंट यूनिट इनटू मोर देन वन और अपार्टमेंट, राइट. फॉलोइंग द आउटक्राई, सिटीजन ने कंप्लेन किया कि जो ओरिजिनल कैरेक्टर है सिटी के उसे बरकरार रखने की जरूरत है और इस तरह की स्ट्रक्चर कहीं ना कहीं बेसिक फ्रेमवर्क आर्किटेक्चर को उसको थ्रेटन करती है, तो इसे रिपील किया गया 2007 में वापस. Now the committee of expert has been formed. Now they will look into the matter. So in 2009 the committee was constituted that drew up the Chandigarh master plan for 2031 and they reintroduced the plan in 2001. Meanwhile in 2010 the committee of expert was also set up to look into the original concept of the Chandigarh city and maintains the importance of the heritage building which is there. The broad committee के recommendations की अगर बात करें, they should have not brought this densifications and any government residential pocket phase 1 should be there with the approval of the Chandigarh Heritage Conservation Committee. ऐसे committee ने कहा that Chandigarh is divided into two phase, right? वहाँ पे दो phase हैं, phase 1 and phase 2. So accordingly it function. I'll tell you कि कैसे फेज किस तरह के कंस्ट्रक्शंस में काम करती है. These recommendations were accepted by the central government जो कि रेफरेंस के तौर पे काम की गई for the draft Chandigarh Master Plan 2031 in the final version, right, which was notified in 2015 itself. तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट की ऑर्डर के बाद क्या क्या चीजें चेंज होंगी. सुप्रीम कोर्ट की जो बेंच है, द बेंच हेडेड बाय B.R. गवई एंड B.V. Nagarathan has banded the conversion and bifurcation of the single residential unit into the apartment, specifically in the phase 1 of the Chandigarh, which cover the larger heritage zone comprising sector 1 to 30. तो sector 1 से लेके 30 तक ये phase 1 के अंदर आती हैं and this comprise most of the beautiful monuments which is located. Now that deals with the process. MOUs agreement were underway and it will be null and void and floor area ratio has been frozen by the Supreme Court. The order restricted the number of floor in the phase 1 to 3 with a uniform maximum height at deemed appropriate by the Heritage Committee, and directed the administration not to formulate rules by law without prior consultations of the committee. Chandigarh के बारे में अगर बात करें, it's a beautiful city, lush green city, and it's well developed in two phases. The first phase has a sector that include sector 1 to sector 30. तो यहाँ पे 30 sectors हैं. उसके बाद जो phase 2 development हुई, 31 से लेके 47 sectors तक develop किए गए. Phase 1 has a low rise plotted development bungalows, and even population is less than 1,50,000. The distributions of the population were to be hierarchical, with low density in the northern sector increasing towards the south. The city was conceptualized by the French architecture Le Corbusier along with the Perry Jornat, Jane B. Drew, and Maxwell Fry. So these were the people who were actually the man behind the architectural development of the Chandigarh city. It's only city in India that was planned, right? The French architecture engineers have incorporated a principle of light, space, greenery in a city plan model. Now, moving to the other news, Vice President says that court cannot dilute the parliamentary sovereignty, something important for General Studies paper 2, that is the structure, organizations, and functions of executive and judiciary. Addressing 83rd All India Presiding Officers Conference, जो वाइस प्रेसिडेंट है उन्होंने कहा है कि जो लैंडमार्क जजमेंट हुई थी केशव नंदा भारती की 1973 में, but it gave the basic structure doctrine, and even he noted that the verdict set a bad precedent. If any authority questioning parliament power to amend the constitution, it would be difficult to say that we are a democratic nation. So basically जो पूरी premise है वो नेशनल जुडिशियल अपॉइंटमेंट कमीशंस को लेकर के है, एंड दिस इज अ टसल व्हिच इज देयर बिटवीन द गवर्नमेंट एंड द जुडिशरी. दिस इज नॉट न्यू, दिस हैज बीन फॉर अ लॉन्गर पीरियड ऑफ टाइम. तो इसके बहुत सारे प्रोज एंड कॉन्स हैं. वी हैव बीन डिस्कसिंग दिस फॉर सेवरल टाइम. अभी मैं आपको कुछ प्रेमाइज बताऊंगा एंड हाउ दिस इज एक्चुअली गेटिंग दिस थिंग्स डन. विल सी व्हाट आर द केसेस दैट इज हाईलाइटेड इन द केस ऑफ नंदा भारती केस ऑल्सो. So the case, the landmark judgment, was delivered on 24th of April 1973 by a thin majority, that is 7-6, wherein the majority held that any provisions in the Indian Constitution can be amended by the Parliament in order to fulfill the socio-economic obligations that were guaranteed to the citizen as a part of preamble, provided that such amendment does not change the basic structure of the Constitution. This was a landmark judgment which was there, and this is a precedent that is set in terms of the constitutional basic structures. Issue of NJAC की बात की गई है. This has been a tussle between the government and the judiciary. और वाइस प्रेसिडेंट की अगर बात करें, ये एक बार और ऐसी स्टेटमेंट भी उन्होंने दी. The vice president has questioned the criticism for scrapping the National Judicial Appointment Commission in 2015 by the apex court. He said that does not subscribe to the Kesav Nanda Bharti ruling where the parliament can amend the constitution but still not the basic structure. The basic structure principle has become grounded for the setting up of the several constitutional amendments, including the quashing of the constitutional amendment corresponding to the National Judicial Appointment Commission Act that called for the appointment of judges in the high judiciary. और verdict की अगर बात करें, the apex court has said that the law violated the principle of independence of judiciary, which is a basic tenet of the constitution. तो judiciary की ये backing है कि इस तरह की changes जो judiciary की basic structure जो formation है, पूरी setup है, उसको basically उससे छेड़छाड़ करती है, and even it tamper it. So the reason being the Supreme Court has categorically denied this, and it has said that this cannot go forward. Now, a brief difference about the NJAC and Collegium system. You can even take this screenshot for better understanding for revision. Collegium में 3 judges होते हैं, and it is like it has no constitutional backing, and it is under the purview of Article 124, where NJAC was about to be created, although it has been nullified now. Was passed by the Lok Sabha and even consists of 6 members. अलग-अलग members हैं यहाँ पे, 2 CGI, 2 senior most judges, लॉ मिनिस्टर एंड 2 एमिनेंट पर्सन. एंड क्रिटिसिज्म सेज दैट ये कहीं ना कहीं एनजेएसी बना करके जो सुप्रीम कोर्ट की ऑटोनॉमी है रिक्रूटमेंट को लेकर उससे आहत करनी, और सरकार की जो इंटरवेंशन है, द गवर्नमेंट इज ट्राइंग टू इंटरवेन ऑन द पार्ट ऑफ द अपॉइंटमेंट प्रोसेस फॉर द इंडियन जुडिशरी सिस्टम. Now, moving to the editorial of the day, reducing preterm births and stillbirth, a brilliant editorial that will give you an insight about India's neonatal deaths and other aspects of it. Something important for General Studies paper 2 under the subtopic, that is welfare schemes for the vulnerable section of the population by the center and the state government. So first, about the theme of this editorial. The theme is about the preterm births and stillbirth. We'll look into the important issues like a report on the child mortality, India's share in child mortalities, two neglected challenges, proven solutions and policy solutions. बात करें नेल्सन मंडेला की, उन्होंने एक बार कहा था दैट देयर कैन बी नो कीनर रिवलेशंस ऑफ अ सोसाइटीज सोल देन द वे इन विच दे ट्रीट इट्स चिल्ड्रन. तो एक सोसाइटी की मिरर की अगर बात करें या एक इंप्रेशंस की बात करें, उसकी पॉलिसी उनके बच्चों को लेकर के कैसी है, चाइल्ड पॉलिसी कैसी है, ये एक सोसाइटी के बेसिकली उसके सोसाइटी के इंक्लिनेशंस के थ्रू बारे में बहुत सारी चीजें बताती है. टू ग्लोबल रिपोर्ट दैट वाज रिलीज रिसेंटली अबाउट ऑन चाइल्ड मोर्टेलिटी and stillbirth push a reflection on whether India is doing enough to ensure the health and survival for every child. Some of the important reports were also highlighted in the National Family Health Survey 5, which is again astonishing of the fact that some of the challenges were given on that part as well. Now, report on child mortality की अगर बात करें, the report on child mortality that the title is Levels and Trend in the Child Mortality by the United Nations Interagency Group on Children Mortality Estimations has found that globally, ये global के बारे में बात की गई है, globally 5 million children die before 5th birthday, right? This is counted as the mortality, and over the half of 2.7 million occurs the child between 1 to 59 month, which is a remainder occur just in first month of their death. So these are considered as a neonatal death. So globally ये बहुत ही बड़ी concern है. Specifically we'll come into India part as well, but these are the global data. Now India share की अगर बात करें, the India share in the report says that 7,09,336. I'm not repeating the numbers. You can even check the numbers here. Infant के लिए data है, neonatal के लिए these are the data. And many that reported are preventable. जितनी भी deaths report की जा रही हैं, it can be prevented with the government measures and interventions. In addition, जो sample registrars हैं, sample register system that had registered the sample with interstate variations in the child mortality in India. So there is a variations. अगर बात करें 1000 birth की, तो infant mortality मध्य प्रदेश में 6-fold high है compared to the rate which is there in Kerala. The child rural part in the age of the subgroup has much higher mortality rate than compared to the urban counterparts. Now, if you look into the data, what the data says, this is for 1990, 126, gradually reduced to 95, then 61, and 2019 it has reached up to 34, and for current it is close to 29 and 27, right? Now, two neglected challenges. At the root, there are two challenges that need to be addressed. First is about the preterm birth. That is the first challenge of the child being born too early. जो premature birth होती है उसे preterm births कहते हैं. And this, the children born basically they only survive for 37 weeks. And this challenge is because of the preterm is 4 times higher with the risk of the death. And studies have found that the preterm birth contribute in 1/6 under the child that is there to be reported. तो ये कुछ डेटाज हैं जो कि ऑलरेडी सजेस्टेड है. It says that 1 in every 6 under the 5 year of age is reported to be dead. Stillbirth की अगर बात करें, the second challenge is stillbirth, subject to the second report titled Never Forgotten. A baby dies any times after 22 weeks of the pregnancy, but before during the birth classified as a stillbirth. Globally 1.9 million stillbirth report की गई हैं, and in 2021 absolute number for stillbirth in India was 2,86,482, right? And among the other that was reported for 1 to 59 months is 2,67,565. The rates are number and high for the both preterm and stillbirth and unacceptable for the high drive neonatal infant and child mortality is avoided in India. Thus, these demand an intervention from the government, and intervention necessarily required an intention which is actually working at the ground. So proven solutions की अगर बात करें, कौन कौन से ऐसे solutions हैं जिनके outcomes काफ़ी अच्छे रहे हैं. These are the proven solutions. Majority of stillbirth and preterm births can be prevented by scaling up a proven interventions which call for improving the quality of health service. जो basic amenities है health care services में उसे बढ़ाने की जरूरत है, neonatal facilities को और ज़्यादा अच्छी करने की जरूरत है. Reducing both stillbirth and preterm births would be focusing on increasing the access to family planning, improving the antepartum services such as health and nutrition intake of iron and folic acid by the pregnant mothers, providing counseling and important healthy diet to optimal nutrition and identifying the management of the risk factors. Other measures would be to prevent, detect the early manage of the diseases which put mother at high risk such as diabetics, hypertension, obesity, infections, which also help to reduce the pattern of the birth and stillbirths. Now, policy solutions की अगर बात करें, policy measures पे क्या क्या चीजें ध्यान देने की जरूरत है. In the national health policy, the government has committed that it will invest 2.5% of the GDP in the health by 2025. But since 6th year, the government has allocated for health has increased only marginally. तो यहाँ पे हमें अपनी जो GDP की contributions है, terms of जो shares है health में, उसे बढ़ाने की जरूरत है. There are multiple reasons that India health system need to be there by the government focus. It should call for children continuous to die from the preventable cause. Pregnant women do not receive good quality care. Aggregate mortality hides the inequalities in health outcome and burn those inequally borne by the poorest marginalized families. तो ये सारे factors होंगे. And third last is the primary healthcare system is underfunded. तो ये सारे फैक्टर्स को ध्यान में रखते हुए गवर्नमेंट को अपनी जो शेयर है जीडीपी की उसमें हेल्थ में बढ़ाने की जरूरत है. दिस इज मिनिमम बेयर मिनिमम एट प्रेजेंट कंटेक्स्ट वुड बी रिक्वायर 4%, राइट? सो दिस डेफिनेटली नीड टू बी ऑगमेंटेड. लेट्स सी इन द यूनियन बजट व्हाट गवर्नमेंट इज डूइंग. Now, some cosmetic changes along with is not enough to improve the health. There are two recent reports that reminds that this time for government need to allocate more fund to health starting with the upcoming budget itself, right? So this was basic details about the editorial. And before I conclude this session, I would like to give you a brief about one news. It's not that relevant for examination purpose, but important for many other government exams, right? Triple R or RRR movies song Nattu Nattu has been the first Asian song to win the Golden Globe Award, right? So this might be relevant for many other government exams and precisely might be relevant for prelims examination, although this was 80th Golden Globe Award. There's nothing more to discuss this news. So I'm just giving a basic about this news. And before we'll jump into the MCQs of the day. And before I proceed, just to tell you the answers of yesterday questions. For first question, the correct option was C. The second question, the correct option was C again. Today's MCQ for practice. Scientists related to which of the following part? GI-enabled tracking system, social security schemes, instant messaging app by Government of India, new fertilizer developed by ICR New Delhi. The second question of the day is about the SAT, that is Security Appellate Tribunal, the statutory body established under the provision of SEBI Act 1992. The presiding officer of the SAT shall be appointed by the President of India. So these are some of the questions that you can practice at your home. This was all about for the daily news and editorial analysis. If you have a concern, you reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to assist you. For time being, I'm signing off. Thank you so much for watching this video.